Hey, Eddie and Zotto, GamerNode.com. Today I'm taking a look at an expansion. This is Orléans Invasion. We've already looked at the main game, but now we have this 6-module expansion from Tasty Minstrel Games, designed by Reiner Stockhausen and Inka and Markus Brand. It expands the player count from 1 to 5. The original game was 2 to 4. It adds 3 solo variants, a competitive 2-player variant, a cooperative 2 to 5 player variant, and an expanded and tweaked competitive 2 to 5 player variant of the game. So 6 different scenarios, 6 different ways to play on top of the base Orléans game. So does it improve it? Let's find out. Overall, what do I say about Orléans Invasion? Well, I say that it's a really good addition to the base game. It opens up a tremendous number of options for how to play with this system, and gives you a new style of competitive play for 2 to 5 players. It gives you the cooperative scenario, the invasion scenario, which is very interesting and works very well with this style of game. You have this deck building, pool building sort of mechanic that relies heavily on the luck of the draw. So in competitive games, that can be very, very frustrating. I don't know, you may know that I'm really not a fan of deck building in general, and pool building, extends from that. And I think part of it is because of the level of frustration and the lack of control one has with adjusting these probabilities in the bag or in your deck and just kind of letting it sit there and being at the will of whatever comes out in a game where you're trying to strategize to win. And there's not enough mitigation of that randomness for me. It feels very swingy where you can have one game good and another bad. But in a cooperative scenario especially, I think that you have far less reason to ever be frustrated by that mechanic. And I think the game gives you a number of excellent options for playing together, and the way that you're all trying to work together to supply all of these different items to the overall goals feels really satisfying. Um, the dueling variant is great. I like the race nature of completing objectives instead of just playing to the point value. And it feels really good in that one-on-one scenario. And then, of course, the solo variants, I am not generally a solo player, but I tried these out and I found them enjoyable. I mean, one of them was not as great as the others, but I think the way that they specifically have you aiming at certain parts of the game, and they have you focusing on these particular goals, is a lot of fun. As for the prosperity scenario, which is sort of a re-implementation of the main game with some additional rules, sort of an expansion of the rule set, I do like that a lot. One thing I'm not a huge fan of is the fight over the carpenter. I really like the idea of the structures. They're like goal cards. They're things that you're going to be working for, working to complete. I said before that it reminds me of the contracts in Marco Polo, and I love that. However, I wish that there was some way to not have such a tug of war with the carpenter. Maybe have your own carpenter. Maybe your merchant can double as the carpenter. I'm not sure. There would have to be a sort of large tweaking there, and I'm not entirely certain if letting players just go wherever they want like that would make the structure system valuable. So, I mean, I'm not a game designer, but I feel like there was something that could have been done with that carpenter mechanic. But overall, I really like that expansion as well, that scenario, the prosperity scenario. So in general, I think this is a great addition to the Orleans base game. But one thing that just really got to me is the fact that it's listed as 1 to 5 players, and it gives you the 5th player actions for the specific scenarios that call for them, but there's no 5th player components. The base game is only 2 to 4 players, so how am I playing 5 players? I have to buy a separate expansion that expands it to 5 players, but this is the expansion. This is the main expansion for Orléans, and I think that it would have been a much better idea, and I would have appreciated a lot more if this included the components for that 5th player. The deluxe version of the game comes with a 5th player set of components, but the base game does not. So having that in there would be great. Otherwise, though, I think it's excellent. I'm going to give it the same 4 out of 5 rating that I gave Orléans, and it really just expands on what you have there already and gives you more, and it gives you more good stuff. So that's Orléans Invasion from Tasty Minstrel Games, designed by Reiner, Stockhausen, and Inka and Markus Brand. 4 out of 5 from me. Thanks for watching. If you like our videos, please do give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Get all our videos as they come out. Of course, follow us on Twitter at GamerNode and like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GamerNode. Listen to the podcast, The GamerNode Show. It's available on iTunes and Stitcher. Leave us a review there if you like what you hear. And, of course, check out GamerNode.com. Again, I'm Eddie Inzauto. Thanks for watching. Have fun out there.